The only forbidden door that is remaining in wrestling is AEW versus WWE. That is the only forbidden door remaining in professional wrestling today. And if you ain't gonna give me AEW versus WWE, scrap it. Forbidden Door 2025 is in the books, and it was a good show. It really was a good show. Not the heights of a usual AEW pay-per-view, I would say. People always say, oh, best pay-per-view of the year. I'm not so sure with that one. I'm not so sure, but I had a good time, and I was lucky enough, I was privileged, in fact, to be in attendance in the O2, which the O2 has become WWE's London home, UK home, if you like. So to have an AEW pay-per-view in there, it was special. And it was special to the effect that AEW have now got the record for the biggest pro wrestling crowd in that venue. Nearly 19,000 people. So kudos to AEW. You did your thing. You absolutely did your thing. And yeah, it was like I said, a really, really, really good show. I was happy to see so many of our Brit Rest stars on that show and people that have progressed onto AEW from Brit Rest, getting their kind of hometown welcome. Beautiful stuff to see, man. But today we're going to talk about the concept of Forbidden Door. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this concept is no longer needed. This concept is no longer needed. Like, once upon a time, 2020 or so, around then, this was a thing. You had a Japanese star walk through the Forbidden Door into America, into AEW, two companies that weren't working together. There was no beef. There was no beef at all, because we know the role New Japan has played, and Japanese promotions in general, in building up AEW. You know, there is no AEW without how integral New Japan was and New Japan talents are and stuff like that. We know this. So there is no beef. But you still didn't really see someone from New Japan coming across into AEW per se. So Forbidden Door made sense. You see a star from New Japan turn up in AEW. Oh my God, what's going on here? And as well as that, we haven't seen a lot of partnerships work so well. You know, we before AEW, of course, we've been used to like a McMahon monopoly over the wrestling scene, and McMahon don't play with nobody. No, McMahon don't play with nobody. Don't play nicely anyway. So it was one of them things where we hadn't seen partnerships like this for years and years and years. Maybe at least 20 something years, 20 to 25 years before AEW was conceived. So it was a surprise. Forbidden Door really did mean something at that time, 2020 or so. In 2025, does AEW Forbidden Door mean anything? I don't think so. Like, we had a number of AEW versus AEW matches, if you want to put it that way. You know, we had talents that are, playing out their TV storylines here on the show. And we had the New Japan talents that did come across were kind of shoehorned in. I mean, we have to call a spade a spade. Seeing Hiromu take on Carl Fletcher was great. Carl Fletcher, I think, is brilliant. But they basically just shoehorned him in. A one tag match. This is going to be your opponent at the pay-per-view. Carl wins. We saw Zack Sabre Jr. come across, and he defended the IWGP Championship against Nigel McGuinness, which it was special, man. It's just special, especially because of Nigel's journey and stuff. ZSJ is a god in his own right. Like, this isn't the meaning of Forbidden Door, though. Like, it's one of them ones where this could happen on a whim. At this point, this can just happen on Dynamite. There is nothing particularly special. Of course, we saw Tanahashi himself and Kota Ibushi, and we saw these guys in the main event. Gabe Kidd came across in the main event. Brilliant to see Gabe Kidd in the main event as well in the Lights Out match. But we've seen these guys on Dynamite. We saw Tanahashi on Dynamite last week. We've seen Gabe Kidd infrequently here and there running with the Death Riders. So it's like, is this special? Is this a special event anymore? You know? We had matches on the card which had, again, other talents from other promotions sprinkled here and there, but there was just a lot of talents. So I think we're at the point now where I would say this is becoming a bit Survivor Series-ish. Remember when Survivor Series was just all of a sudden it's Survivor Series season and it's brand supremacy, A man that moved to SmackDown 2 weeks before is now all of a sudden wearing SmackDown on his chest, on his heart, bleeding blue, and he wants to defend SmackDown. And it's just like things are being shoehorned in. Yeah, things are being shoehorned in just because of the title of the pay-per-view. We don't want to get into a place where the pay-per-view title is determining what is happening on TV and the booking. WWE have been there, and it's been horrible. So like I said, with Survivor Series, we were shoehorning in, 5-on-5 matches, brand supremacy nonsense. We're now kind of shoehorning in war games because we don't need a war games every year. We don't need one. But now you're giving us one because it's Survivor Series war games. So we have to get to that point of the year when everyone starts thinking, right, who's the 5-on-5? We don't need it, in my opinion. And I don't want AEW to start thinking that, we've called it Forbidden Door, so we have to bring over talents from these other companies that we work with and shoehorn them into matches. Remember when WWE was doing this nonsense with Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, TLC pay-per-view? You don't want to get there. You really don't want to get there. We've been there as fans and we weren't impressed. So, and I think Forbidden Door over the years has just been dying a death just because so much of the New Japan roster has migrated to AEW anyway. New Japan can't pay these guys what Tony Khan can pay them. Tony Khan has made these ladies and gentlemen millionaires, some of them at this point. Millionaires. They've taken their New Japan wage and doubled it. Tripled it, in some occasions quadrupled it. Like, that's just what happens. So we are familiar with these men and women that have worked in New Japan now over in AEW. And if we're completely honest, there is a lack of star power left in New Japan to really make us sit up and think, oh, Forbidden Door, can't wait till so-and-so faces, the guy in AEW. Already have the best of New Japan. So much so that I would probably say the best of New Japan right now is an AEW star in Takeshita. Am I lying? Let me know if I'm lying in the comments. I don't think I am, ZSJ is the champion, yes, but you're fooling yourself if you don't think Takeshita's going to win that championship. Takeshita is the top boy over there, So I really do think we need to consider, is Forbidden Door still a thing that we need to run as a company? We can just run pay-per-views and incorporate these talents and make it make sense. Tell a story. Wrestling isn't enough. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Like, just incorporate these New Japan talents and CMLL talents into your regular programming because you can. You're already working with them. You're already in bed with them. You're already in cahoots with them. And we all know it. There is nothing forbidden about this. So yeah, I think it was brilliant as a concept. I think it was revolutionary somewhat at the time. You've got the leaders of the market kind of copying now and working with TNA and all these other promotions. You're like, AEW definitely started a trend there, 100%, or reignited a trend at the very least. But now for their programming, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I don't want them to kind of fall into that box that WWE was of, oh, it's Survivor Series, let's start organizing the 5-on-5 and it doesn't make sense. Or, oh, it's Hell in a Cell, let's just find these two guys and stick them in a Hell in a Cell, although the feud doesn't make sense, to put them in a Hell in a Cell at that time. AEW are better than that. I'm gonna say it. You're better than that. So, Forbidden Door, the only Forbidden Door that is remaining in wrestling, and you all know what I'm about to say, is AEW versus WWE. That is the only Forbidden Door remaining in professional wrestling today. And if you ain't gonna give me AEW versus WWE, scrap it. Forget it. I don't need AEW Forbidden Door pay-per-views anymore. It's far superior to any other promotion it works with on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. AEW is far superior. I don't feel like I'm getting star for star. I just feel like someone here from another neighboring promotion is probably losing, unless it's the IWGP championship. The IWGP champion is the only man that is safe on an AEW promotion. So yeah, as much as I think it was a good concept at the time, the only Forbidden Door remaining in wrestling is WWE and AEW's Forbidden Door to each other. And if them two ain't gonna sort something out, then we don't need this pay-per-view at this point. That's what I think. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Is AEW Forbidden Door a dead concept? Do we still need it? I want to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. My name's Mex. I make videos on WWE and AEW. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well, so you get notified every single time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.